Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Dragon Ball Super Figurize Standard Ultra Instinct Goku, which is one that I know a lot of people are very excited about. I mean, it's been out for a while now, but people were excited about it, and they like this version of Goku a lot, and there's no figure for him yet, at least from Figure Arts. So this might be a good stand, even though it's way out of scale. Some people are probably going to pick it up just to have it, and so this review might be helpful for you. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands roughly to the top of his head, about 7¼ inches. That's including the hair, which makes him about 18½ centimeters. And it is important to note that this guy is technically a model kit and not an action figure, so there is no paint anywhere on here. You just have molded plastic and a couple of stickers. So aesthetically speaking, he's nowhere near as good looking as an action figure. It looks okay for a very entry-level model kit, and that's about it. Unfortunately, they didn't even do a particularly good job because, like I said, it is very entry-level. So like the parts down here, you should have orange in this tattered part, but you don't. They didn't make it 2 parts, so what you would have to do is paint the second layer with orange paint, which most people aren't going to bother doing. That's a bummer. There's obviously no shading. They even did show, and this is a minor detail, but on the artwork, on the packaging, they do show the orange painted on here, and they show his nipples a different color. And the nipples aren't like a big deal or anything, but it goes to show you that you don't even have stickers for those kind of things in the package, so it's very bland looking. The sculpt is okay. Seam lines are okay for a model kit, but it's just blah. The fists are really just kind of doughy looking, and then there's a big gap for the wrist. So ultimately, I'm not very impressed with this. The hair is a nice shiny silver though, so I'll give him that. The eyes look pretty good. Sculpt on the face is decent, but it's just very blah. It's just too entry level. So if you're into the cheaper kind of figures, then this might be for you, but objectively speaking, it's only acceptable at best, so I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 for aesthetics. As far as accessories go, we do have interchangeable faces. We have the neutral face, then one where his teeth are showing. Both are done very nicely. We do have 2 fist hands and then 2 open hands. And then we have a little acrylic stand for 2 different blast effects. Well, only one really, because one's for his hands, which is the charging up Kamehameha. And then we have the one that goes on the stand, which is the fired Kamehameha. And they both look pretty good, though again, there's no shading or anything, so it's just kind of blah. So for the accessories, I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10 as far as model kits go. Like this kind of model kit, that's not bad. 2 energy effects and some interchangeable parts, that'll do nicely. As far as articulation goes, we have some ball pegs in the neck, so that's nice. The lower neck also moves, so pretty good, not bad. Shoulders work pretty nicely, better than Broly because they have this kind of thing that slides over the rest of the joint, but it works much better than Broly's, so I'll give it to them. And they tuck in nicely, so you can raise the arms up really well, so that's good. You do, of course, have full rotation there because it's connected on a ball peg. And then you do have a butterfly joint, though it's incredibly ugly. And there's that. Bicep swivel is fine. Single jointed elbow works a little bit better than 90 degrees, and then the wrists are on a little ball peg which pops out too easily and is kind of ugly. You can push them in a little bit, but when you go to pose them, they start to slide out and then they end up looking like that. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. Torso doesn't really function for crap. It rotates a little bit, it barely leans, it barely does anything, so that's lousy. The hips like to pop off very easily, but they are on sort of like hinged ball pegs, functionally speaking. They don't work as well, but you can bring the legs out pretty far to the side, and you can bring them pretty far forward. That's good. And then you can bring them back a little bit if you want to. You do have a thigh swivel in there, kind of, but there's really no place for it to move, so it's very minimal range. Single jointed knee, which is a perfect example of why Figure Arts needs to make better knees. This is kind of an ugly example of it because it's a cheap model kit, but the concept is still there. You don't need this big seam line up here, this big flat area. You don't need that at all. But if you tuck this part into this part, you can use one single joint and it looks good at every angle. Every bit of bending is perfectly functional. I don't understand, and it's smooth on the back too. Do this kind of joint, Figure Arts. Stop doing the other kinds of joints. This is cheaper to make. It just takes a little bit of engineering, a little bit of thinking about it before you put things together. Do it this way, it's so much better. For the ankles, you do get rotation at the boot, and then you get an ankle rocker and a hinge, which is all minimal, and it'll pop apart if you're not careful. So articulation wise on this guy, 6 out of 10. Shoulders are decent, neck's decent, that's about it. Overall rating on this guy, this is just, to me, since figure arts exist, you're better off waiting for an official release. And honestly, even if they don't make one, the Dragon Stars one is probably still a better option if you're into action figures. If you're into building kits, then this is the way to go. But they're just not anywhere near the level of an action figure, even a cheap action figure when they're done. So I'm not really into it, guys. I just don't care for it. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. If you're into this sort of stuff, then you'll probably enjoy it more than I do. But practically speaking, it's just not, there's no real level of quality there. It's too cheap of a model kit to be a good figure at the end, and it doesn't work for me. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up just about every single day, and thousands of others already on the channel waiting for you, so make sure you check that stuff out. And in the meantime, keep collecting.